So in this demonstration, we're going to take a look at automated PMI using pre-configured rules and also validation using the new advisor. But before I do that, I'm going to add some datums. So I'll select the faces for my primary, secondary and tertiary datums. There we have them. Just reposition them. So when I go into my model views in the part navigator, you can see the three datums underneath my current work view. I want to view them in another view and simply copy them into that view and then make that other view the active or work view. So let's take a look at how we can automate the authoring of PMI in this part. The model-based definition logical rules are found within the reuse library, and underneath the node are several folders containing a number of out-of-the-box PMI rules. Notice that the folders categorize different PMI, from addition of datums, dimensions, feature control frames, all the way through to technical data packages. So I expand the MBD node, select the dimension folder, and now you can see all of the out-of-the-box PMI rules for dimensions. I select the one I want, which is create size on holes, drag it into the graphics window, which then brings up a dialog. The dialog is pre-configured in the rule for deviation and grade, and when I OK this, NX feature recognition takes over and looks for all the holes that it can apply a dimension to. And there's the result. All the holes it's found, it's added the PMI with the tolerance, and all I had to do was apply the rule. So I'm just going to reset the orientation of my view and then take a look at a new navigator in the resource bar, one specifically for model-based definition. In this navigator, you'll see all the rules that are currently within the part file, together with details about that particular rule. We'll take a look at how we can interact with this navigator a little bit later on. To illustrate the fact that the rule has selected the right geometry, as I pick the individual dimensions, notice that all the corresponding faces associated with the dimension are highlighted. So now I'm going to utilize another out-of-the-box rule, this time one for a feature control frame and in particular position. I drag the rule out of the library. I'm presented with a dialog, and here I'm going to select my datums, primary, secondary and tertiary, and look at the material modifier. So I'm going to specify none for both the secondary and tertiary datums and apply that rule. Again, you'll notice the feature control frame has been associated to the dimension that we previously created. And when I go back to my MBD navigator, you'll see that that second rule has now been added in. To ensure the PMI added is compliant, I can use the new Pmi Advisor, which gives me a graphical representation of what's passed and if there are any warnings. I can find out more information about any warnings, and in this case it's telling me that I need to remove the material modifier from the datum reference. So I go back to the MBD navigator, select the rule I need to modify, and then in the details pane I can remove the material modifier from my primary datum. Now when I go back to the Pmi Advisor and rerun the check, all of the warnings have disappeared and everything's passed. So what do these rules look like and how do I author or edit them? Well, if I go back into the reuse library and select one and then edit it, it brings up the logic editor, and this is where we create or modify a rule. Notice in the Node Explorer at the left-hand side we have a number of pre-existing nodes that we can simply drag into the logic editor to create our rules. You can also test the rule here just by simply selecting the node, providing the input, in this case a face, then some text. We OK that and then look at the preview of the output. Once we're happy, we can now exit the logic editor. So that's given you a brief introduction into the new NX model-based definition tool.